Hi guys, and welcome back to another super awesome, amazing video. Please excuse any puffiness in my cheeks. I got my wisdom teeth out on Wednesday and I am still noticing some puffiness and swollenness. Imagine holding two baseballs in your cheeks, and that's pretty much what I looked like the last 2 days. Luckily, I'm doing much better today, and I am back with another super awesome topic: memory. Memory plays such an important role in our lives. Everything that we see, hear, smell, taste, feel, everything that we learn, all of that is processed in our minds. Some of that information is chosen and stored for us to recall at a later time, and some of it gets lost in the system, never to be seen again. If you're the type, like me, that accidentally puts the dog food in the refrigerator or loses their phone every 5 minutes, then you know how frustrating it can be to have a poor memory. Information comes in constantly, but it can be hard to hold on to what's really important and ensure that we're gonna remember it when it matters most. We rely on our memories for so much. We need them to remember names, dates, times, locations, numbers, events, things from school, things from work, things from home, things that were said to us. This huge, ginormous list of things that our brains are supposed to remember at any given moment. And it can seem like you're grasping at straws, trying to keep all of that in your head, and more importantly, trying to make sure that you can grab it and use it when you need to. And so if you feel overwhelmed or you feel like just crazy trying to remember everything, you're not alone. But there are some tricks and tips that you can use to make your memory stronger and to help you remember things when it matters most. So if that's something you're interested in, stick around. We're going to be going over 4 easy tricks you can do starting today to improve your memory. So let's go ahead and get started. First, we're going to start by going over how our memory works. But if you're anything like me and you want to skip this section, go ahead, and we're going to be getting to the 4 easy tips soon. So just some complete disclosure, I am not a neuroscientist. I know, shocker. I'm not a psychologist. Most of the information I got is either from Google or from a high school psychology class. So take my information or leave it, it's up to you. There's still a lot that we don't know about the brain and about our memory, and a lot that scientists are still exploring. If that's something you're interested in, it's extremely fascinating, and I encourage you to look it up in more detail. Today, we're just gonna go over some basics to help you understand your brain, how it works, and how you can use it. So, one thing that I do remember, no pun intended, from my high school anatomy and psychology classes is that our brain is composed of many neurons. Think of a giant game of telephone. One neuron sends a signal down to the synapse point where the message is transferred to another neuron, signal is sent down, and this process just continues and continues, really honestly, until the signal is either not strong enough to keep going or until it gets to its destination point. With your memory, this signal can be triggered by many things. That's why a smell might bring back something, or a certain type of song might bring back a memory that you hadn't thought about in years. All of these signals are stored in our brain though. All of these neurons are stored there. They're connected together, just waiting to be used. However, some signals are used more than others. If you take the same route to work all the time, that signal is constantly firing 5 days a week, the whole time you're going to work. And so that signal, because it is used so much, is actually strengthened. Your brain creates a stronger, thicker, more durable neuron that sends the signal faster. So that information is getting where it needs to go much, much more efficiently. The side effect of this, though, is that signals and neurons that are not used as often are not strengthened. In fact, they can actually get weaker and slower as time passes without them being used. So you might be able to recall that song that you had to sing in the 5th grade, but it won't come quickly, and it surely won't come easily as compared to something that you just did yesterday. And so time and use are the biggest factors in affecting our ability to recall information and remember things when it is most important. So professional memorizers use this technique to help increase their ability to remember things that are important, because they realize that the more the information is recalled and the more it is thought about, the stronger that signal will get, the easier it will be for them to use it. There are a couple other factors that affect the potency of a memory. One of those is emotions. That's why you might remember the smell of your mother's cooking, or you might remember the song that was played on your wedding day. All of these things are tied to really important moments and really important emotions, so those memories tend to stick around. The other thing that can really affect memories is novelty. For example, I don't think I will ever forget the day that my anatomy teacher sprayed Axe body spray all around the classroom. Because these events were so strange and out of the ordinary, they tend to stick in your minds, as opposed to perhaps what you ate for breakfast a week ago. It's also the reason why that super annoying jingle will get stuck in your head years after you heard it last. But other memories that are monotonous or everyday just seem to pass through our minds almost as if they were never there. If you want to improve your memory, you have to realize that it is constantly changing. It's adapting to our situations, environments, in order to make sense of the world we live in. Our thinking, the frames that we use to process information, all of that is built around what is being taken in by our brain and what we are holding on to or letting go of. And so when trying to improve your memory, it's important to pay special attention to what you want your brain to remember, what you want to focus on, and more importantly, finding tricks to help you and your brain latch on to that information so you can use it when you need to. So to put it simply, recall, emotions, and novelty are all factors that can increase the potency and longevity of a particular memory. We aren't going to talk too much about emotion or novelty because those are factors that just occur by chance for the most part. So you're not going to necessarily use those as tools to help with your memory. All right, now that we've got the science of your memory out of the way, as best as I can do, we are gonna go ahead and talk about those tips I keep promising you guys. So we're gonna dive into those and see how those affect your memory. Really quick though, if you are enjoying this video and you would like to see more of them, go ahead and click that like button. I know, but honestly, would you expect anything less? So if you like this, go ahead and click like. That way I can keep making great videos for you guys. And now, without further ado, here are those 4 tips for improving your memory. Number 1, I keep saying this again and again, the best thing you can do is just practice recalling information. This is a super basic tip, but really hard to practice. One piece of advice I've been trying to do in my own life is when you go to bed at night, think about everything that you did that day. And not just the main events. I mean every little detail, to what you did first when you got up, what did you wear, what did you eat, all of these little tiny details in the order that they occurred. This is an exercise just to strengthen your recall abilities and to strengthen your brain. And it's really good to do right before bedtime, because when you are asleep is when your brain begins decoding information and processing what to keep and what to get rid of. So by doing that recall process, you're more likely to remember what you need to remember. Throughout your day as well, recalling information. If you are meeting a new person, one trick that I often use is if they tell you their name, use it frequently in the conversation. Again, you are just recalling it. You're bringing it back and you are forming that connection in your brain and you're strengthening it just by pure usage of that information. Recalling. It's super, super basic, but I promise you, all you are doing is just strengthening those connections helping your brain. And the second tip I have for you guys is just continuously learning new things. I know this can be difficult. I know it's time consuming, but there's a reason that people from infanthood to about 25 years old are able to learn things faster. Their memory is faster. Their ability to process information is faster. And that's because those people are traditionally in school. You graduate around 24, and then you're in the workforce still just learning the tools of the trade. You haven't become good at anything yet. And so your brain is constantly growing and adapting and changing. Those habits are changing. Your ways of life are changing. Your thoughts, all of that is constantly developing. As you get older, you get in the same rut of doing the exact same things every day. Everything becomes a habit and your brain stops learning because it has already learned everything that it does. And because of this, it also affects your memory because, again, you're not recalling information as well as you would be if you were, say, in school and you had to memorize that poem or that assignment for your class. Those things, while they may seem pointless, are, again, just strengthening the muscles in your brain. So if you want just to give your brain a good workout, start exploring, learn new things that you find interesting, things that you haven't explored at work, things that are just something you're passionate or curious about. And by doing that, your brain will begin building and forming new connections. Again, just overall strengthening your brain's ability to recall information and remember things. Okay, number 3 is just really life-changing in my opinion. It's called the Pareto Principle, otherwise known as the 80-20 rule. And this is just the idea that 80% of your results comes from 20% of what you learn. Now, I know the relation to memory might be a little more confusing with this one, but what I want you to get from this is that you don't need to be an expert in something to remember it. You need about 20% of what you are learning. You need to remember 20% of it for 80% of your results. So this is really, really good because that means you don't have to hold on to all that information. The other activities I talked about were about just pure recall and learning and memorizing as much as you can. But in order to improve your memory, you really only need 20% of that information. So it's not this huge goal of, oh, I have to memorize everything, all these names, all these faces. No, you need to know about 20% of what you're trying to remember in order to have 80% of your results. It's just the idea, and it will come with practice, of identifying the most important 20% and focusing on that. You might not have the time or the energy to learn everything to completion, but if you can find that 20%, those most important details, and focus on those, then you can still see huge results in your memory and your ability to learn without even needing to put in that much effort. So again, just look for that 20%. Look for the most important details and facts and constantly practice recalling those details. And lastly, thinking patterns. This is a really important tool, so important that I am going to make a whole separate video on thinking patterns at a later time. But right now, what I want you to focus on is figuring out how your brain works. Our brains function by making connections to the world around us. How we do that is a little bit different for every person. But if you can figure out and identify your thinking patterns, then you can also use those thinking patterns to improve your results. For example, one thing that really works for me are acronyms. I will make some crazy acronyms to help me remember things I need to know. Another example is writing a story, or perhaps if you're musical, making a song. Those tools help us memorize information. Again, it's more novel. So those facts and those informations that we turn into songs or poems, those tend to stick in our brain longer and better than things we just tried memorizing word for word. Understanding that and finding those types of tools that perhaps you used in elementary school or high school, that will help you just improving your memory regardless of what stage of life you're in. So look into those. and try to find ones that work best for you and use those to help with your recall as well. Over time and with practice, your brain will get stronger, your memory skills will strengthen, and you'll be able to do this much easier. But that's all it is it's a skill. And the good news is that skills are improved through practice. So get started today, pick one of these 4 tips, or pick all of them, and just start using them in your life. I think you'll be amazed at how quickly they begin to work for you. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really, really hope you got something from it and that it will change your life as much as it changed mine. Good luck. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.